Y'all, something about that video didn't just feel off, it felt wrong. Because what people saw at Paris Fashion Week wasn't just Oprah Winfrey looking different, it was Oprah struggling, walking like every single step hurt, forcing a smile while her body told a completely different story. And the internet caught it instantly. Within hours, the whispers turned into accusations. Is this the cost of her transformation? Did she take it too far? Because behind that dramatic weight loss, behind the headlines celebrating her new body, there's a darker conversation nobody wants to have. The injections, the side effects, the stories people tried to ignore. And now, people are connecting the dots. What makes this even more explosive? Wendy Williams, the one woman who never stayed silent about Oprah, is allegedly speaking out again, and this time, insiders say her reaction is brutal. She went too far. This isn't just celebrity gossip anymore. This is about control, pressure, and a system that rewards transformation, no matter the cost. Because Oprah herself admitted the struggle, the shame, the decades of public scrutiny. But now the question is darker than ever. Did she finally escape it, or did she trade it for something worse? And if what people are saying is even partially true, this isn't a glow-up story. It's a warning.
Here's for Wendy Williams. They meant to say Gail. But I thought that this was a joke myself. I'm like, nobody needs to shed tears for me. I got this on.
Y'all, the moment that video hit the internet, something shifted, and not in a good way. Because what people expected to see at Paris Fashion Week was glamour, confidence, and control. But what they got instead was confusion, concern, and a wave of questions no one could ignore. There was Oprah Winfrey, one of the most powerful women in media history, stepping out in a flawless outfit, cameras flashing, crowd watching. But then she started walking. And suddenly, everything changed. Her steps looked slow, calculated, almost painful. Her posture fell off. Her smile? Still there, but strained. And just like that, the internet zoomed in. Frame by frame, step by step. People weren't just watching anymore. They were analyzing. Why does she look like that? Is she okay? Something's not right. Because this wasn't the Oprah people were used to seeing. This wasn't confidence. This looked like someone pushing through discomfort just to maintain the image. And that's when the speculation exploded. One word kept coming up over and over again. Ozempic. The same weight loss injections that have quietly taken over Hollywood. The same miracle solution celebrities don't fully talk about, but everyone seems to be using. And suddenly, Oprah's transformation, once praised, started being questioned. Because yes, she lost weight. Yes, she looks different. But at what cost? The conversation quickly turned darker. People started bringing up side effects, stories of fatigue, weakness, even serious health complications. And then came the receipts. Clips resurfaced of Oprah openly discussing her weight struggles, decades of public shaming, endless pressure, and the emotional toll of living under a microscope. She admitted it herself. The shame, the judgment, the constant battle with her body. And when she finally found something that worked, she embraced it. Not as a secret, but as a solution.
Believable than her being the national spokesperson for a diet program. Oh, please. Oh, please. Every time I see the commercials, I'm like, oh, please.
She called it a tool, a way to finally take control. But now, critics are asking a different question. What happens when the tool starts controlling you? Because the same injections that helped her transform are now being blamed for what people saw in that viral moment. And it doesn't stop there. The backlash is growing. Some are accusing her of promoting a lifestyle without fully addressing the risks. Others are pointing out the silence around side effects, the parts of the story that don't make headlines. And in the middle of all this, there's one name people can't stop bringing up. Wendy Williams. The one person who never played by Hollywood rules. The one voice that always said what others were too afraid to say. And while she hasn't publicly addressed this exact moment, insiders are claiming she's been watching closely, reacting, questioning, and allegedly saying what many are thinking. This doesn't look normal. Now, whether that's true or not, one thing is clear. This isn't just about a viral video anymore.
Because this special was really important to me and I wanted to be able to talk about whatever I want to talk about. And Weight Watchers is now in the business of being a weight health company that also administers medications for weight. I did not want to have the appearance of any conflict of interest.
I see.
And so I resigned from the board and I donated all of my shares to the National Museum of Africa.
It's about image, control, and the pressure to stay perfect in a world that never stops watching. Because when someone like Oprah, someone who built an empire on authenticity, starts raising questions instead of answers, people notice. And they don't look away. Because deep down, everyone is wondering the same thing. Is this transformation a success story? Or the beginning of something much darker? And if that moment on camera was just a glimpse, then what aren't we seeing? Y'all, what makes this situation even more unsettling is that this didn't start at Paris Fashion Week. That moment, that slow, uncomfortable walk, it wasn't the beginning. It was the breaking point. Because long before that video went viral, there were already signs that something behind the scenes wasn't adding up. For years, Oprah Winfrey had been the face of balance, publicly tied to Weight Watchers, promoting discipline, structure, and the idea that weight loss came from consistency, not shortcuts. That was the brand. That was the message. But then, everything shifted. Quietly. Strategically. Almost like a rebrand no one fully questioned. Oprah stepped away from Weight Watchers. No drama. No scandal. Just a clean exit. And officially, it was about avoiding conflict of interest. But critics weren't convinced. Because right around the same time, a new narrative started forming. One where weight loss wasn't about struggle anymore. It was about solutions. Medical solutions. And suddenly, the same woman who once represented discipline was now openly discussing injections, framing them as a breakthrough, a form of relief, even freedom. To some, it felt honest. To others, it felt like something wasn't being fully said. Because while the benefits were being highlighted, the risks stayed in the shadows. And that's where the backlash really started building. Stories began surfacing. People sharing experiences, some claiming serious side effects, others describing complications that went far beyond what they expected. Fatigue, weakness, even conditions like pancreatitis being linked in conversations. And whether every claim is true or not, the fear is real. Because this isn't just about one celebrity anymore. This is about influence. When someone like Oprah speaks, people listen. And when she endorses something, directly or indirectly, it doesn't stay personal. It becomes global. And that's exactly why the scrutiny is so intense right now. Because after that viral video, people aren't just asking what she used. They're asking, what aren't we being told? And then, there's the health scare. The moment that added even more fuel to the fire. Oprah missing a scheduled appearance, reports of illness, hospitalization, dehydration. Officially, it was explained as a stomach virus. Simple, temporary, resolved. But online, that explanation didn't stick. Because by then, the narrative had already taken over. People were connecting dots, whether accurate or not. And in their minds, it all led back to the same place. The injections. The transformation. The pressure to maintain it. And right when the conversation couldn't get any louder, another layer resurfaced. The tension. The history. The unspoken rivalry. Between Oprah and Wendy Williams. Because Wendy was never part of the circle that protected Oprah. She didn't filter her words. She didn't play it safe. She questioned things others ignored. From controversial interviews, to Oprah's connections, to decisions that didn't sit right with the public. And now, with this situation unfolding, people are wondering, if Wendy still had her platform, what would she be saying right now? Because if there's one thing Wendy built her career on, it's saying the uncomfortable part out loud. And according to whispers behind the scenes, she might already be doing exactly that. Allegedly calling this transformation too much. Allegedly questioning how far is too far. But here's the truth no one can escape. This story is no longer about weight. It's about control versus consequence. It's about a system that celebrates dramatic change, but stays silent when the side effects show up. And it's about a moment, just a few seconds on camera, that exposed something people weren't supposed to notice. Because when perfection starts to crack, even slightly, it forces everyone to confront a reality they've been ignoring. And now, the question isn't just about Oprah. It's about how many others are following the same path. And what happens when their moment comes. Because if this is what the public sees, then what's happening behind closed doors? And more importantly, how far is too far before it's too late?
Took on the shame that the world gave to me. For 25 years, making fun of my weight was...
Y'all, by now, this isn't just a conversation anymore. It's a pattern. Because what started as one viral moment at Paris Fashion Week has turned into something much bigger, something people are starting to recognize across the entire industry. And at the center of it all is Oprah Winfrey. Not just as a celebrity, but as a symbol. Because Oprah was never supposed to be part of this narrative. She built her legacy on authenticity, on vulnerability, on telling the truth, even when it was uncomfortable. For decades, she openly shared her struggles with weight, the highs, the lows, the public humiliation. She wasn't hiding it. She was living it, in front of the world. And that's exactly why this moment feels so different. Because now, people aren't just seeing her story. They're questioning it. Not out of hate, but out of confusion. Because the same woman who once represented balance now appears caught in a transformation that feels extreme. And the more people watch that video, the more unsettling it becomes. That walk, that forced composure, that quiet discomfort hidden behind a perfect image. It doesn't match the narrative. And when reality doesn't match the story, people start digging. They revisit everything. Her interviews, her statements, her decisions. Even her shift away from Weight Watchers, which once seemed like a simple business move, now feels like part of a bigger timeline. A transition.
Ashamed of this. At one point, I actually went back on Ozempic because I hated how much weight I had regained. And my doctors gave it to me. They said, okay, well, we're going to monitor you more closely this time. And after 2 months, I had pancreatitis again. It made me realize, like, okay, this medication is hard.
From one philosophy to another. From discipline to dependency. And whether that's fair or not, that's how the public is interpreting it. Because in today's world, perception becomes reality. And right now, the perception is shifting fast. But here's where it gets even more intense. This isn't just about Oprah anymore. It's about the culture that surrounds her. A culture where transformation is rewarded, where dramatic change is celebrated, where before and after becomes the ultimate proof of success. But no one talks about the middle. The process, the risks, the cost. And when those cracks start to show, they're often dismissed, ignored, or covered up with a smile and a headline. Until a moment like this breaks through. Raw, unfiltered, impossible to ignore.
So for me to be able to see you, to sit in the seat of your life on your own show with your name on it, it is the passing on.
Thank you so
It is
much.
the passing on.
So you officially passing the baton?
I'm passing the baton.
And suddenly, people aren't applauding anymore. They're questioning. And once that door opens, it doesn't close easily. Because now, every move is being watched. Every appearance analyzed. Every detail turned into evidence. And then there's Wendy Williams. The voice that always existed outside the system. The one who never needed approval to speak. And even in her absence, her presence is being felt. Because people know, if Wendy were sitting in that chair today, this wouldn't be a quiet conversation. It would be explosive, unfiltered, relentless. And maybe that's why her name keeps coming up. Because in a situation filled with silence,
R. Kelly got interviewed. Everyone's going to want to talk to Bill Cosby just to get his side of the story.
I believe Oprah's the only one who would stoop to that level.
You never know, man. It's thirsty out here in these streets. And also, too,
people are searching for someone who would say what others won't. But here's the deeper issue. The part that goes beyond headlines and viral clips. This moment is forcing a bigger question. What happens when the image becomes more important than the truth? Because maintaining perfection comes with pressure. And pressure leads to choices. And those choices don't always come without consequences. So now, we're left with a reality that feels uncomfortable to even say out loud. What if this transformation was never just about health? What if it was about expectation? About staying relevant, staying admired, staying in control, no matter what it takes? And if that's the case, then that video wasn't just a moment. It was a glimpse. A rare, unguarded second where the image slipped. And something real showed through. Something people weren't supposed to see. Because behind every perfect transformation, there's a story. And sometimes, that story doesn't end the way people expect. So now the world is watching, waiting, not just for answers, but for what happens next. Because if this is only the surface, then the truth underneath might be even more unsettling. And one question still lingers in the air. Was that moment a warning? Or just the beginning? And now it all comes down to this. Because what you just saw isn't something the industry can quietly move past anymore. That moment wasn't just a bad angle or an off day. It was a crack in a perfectly controlled image, and once people see that crack, they don't forget it. The conversation has already shifted. People aren't just praising transformations anymore, they're questioning them. They're asking what it really takes to look like that. They're asking what's being hidden behind the headlines, the interviews, the carefully crafted statements. And the most uncomfortable part? No one is giving clear answers. Not the celebrities, not the brands, not the system that profits from these transformations. So now the public is doing what it always does when something doesn't add up. They're digging deeper. They're replaying the footage, analyzing every move, connecting dots that were never meant to be connected. Because when something feels off, it usually is. And whether people want to admit it or not, this situation has triggered something much bigger than one viral video. It's exposed a side of fame that's rarely discussed, the pressure to maintain perfection at any cost. So here's where you come in. Do you believe this is just harmless speculation blown out of proportion? Or do you think we just witnessed something real that people are trying to downplay? Drop your thoughts below, but be honest. Because the more people speak up, the harder it becomes to ignore what's right in front of us. And trust this. This story? It's far from over.